got everything. This is the biggest scandal in the history of our country, and it really goes on to even the auto pen, because it all relates to the same thing. It all started the same sick minds. You have an auto pen, which is a tremendous, well, we don't have a president, we have an auto pen that signs everything. I'll bet you sign everything. You don't have auto pens. Everybody, who doesn't sign? You're the president of a country. But it's all that whole thing leading right up to the end of it is the auto pen. And the auto pen was used by people, and Biden knew nothing about it. Biden knew nothing about it. They were signing documents that he knew nothing about. As an example, they released the Unselect Committee of Liability. The Unselect Committee spent 2 years grilling everybody, and then they destroyed all the evidence. You know why? Because the evidence made them guilty, and he gave them all a pardon. The Cheney, all the scum that was on the Unselect Committee, crying, Adam Kinzinger, and Democrats.
Well, he's not wrong. President Trump inviting the president of the Philippines into the Oval Office, Fernando Marcos Jr. And for those of you who remember the days of Imelda Marcos, yep, there's the connectivity. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. So that's happening. And Trump has been on a roll. It's been going on for a while. Oh, there's been cursing. Everything. Talk about Barack Obama. He did this, and Russia, and he's guilty, which, by the way, he is. And now I think we're about to see the showdown of showdowns. We're going to find out exactly how much pull Barack Obama still has in the Democratic Party. Spoiler alert, not as much as he used to. When you push Joe Biden out, and you said, all right, I'm going to back Kamala Harris by yelling at black men to not be traitors to their race. It's a great, what a strategy. Barack Obama, my goodness. Did I say hello? Tony Katz today. Good to be with you. So Trump v. Obama, let's see how hard he goes. Meanwhile, let's bring it back to the president.
But $7 billion, and we want money to go to all universities, not Harvard. Harvard got more than anybody else. They have $52 billion. They get huge tax incentives and tax breaks on that $52 billion, but they have $52 billion, and they got $7 billion over a short period of time. And we have a very hostile judge appointed by Barack Hussein Obama, a very, very hostile judge.
Oh, back to Hussein now. Fantastic.
Knows exactly right from wrong, but you know we expect to win it on appeal. She hasn't given a decision yet, but she's very hostile. And she was put by Barack Hussein Obama, and generally speaking, anybody that does that, we're gonna have problems with. So we don't expect to have. We won the case yesterday. Anybody that was there, that was a neutral, would say we easily won the case. But a lot of the case, and a big part of it's going to be how much money Harvard gets in the future. That's not part of the case, and they're not going to get very much.
Mr. President. In terms of negotiating about the reciprocal tariff, how far are we
with who?
from the Philippines? Yes, sir. How far
are you from the Philippines?
Yes, sir.
Good.
I'm from the Philippines. How far are we from achieving?
Well, it's tough. He's a very tough negotiator. So far, we're not there because he's negotiating too tough. In fact, I used to like him better than I do now. He's too tough. But we'll probably agree to something. But he's strong, a strong negotiator. He loves your country.
Mr. President,
when are you coming to the Philippines, sir?
You talked a lot about the severe consequences that those who are involved in the Russia hoax must face. In your view, sir, what are the next steps now that these documents are out there in Tulsi Gabbard?
Well, the Justice Department would have to act. We have a very competent, very good, very loyal to our country person in Pam Bondi, very respected, and it's going to be her decision.
Well, I think that you're going to see her act. I don't think there's any question to that, is that they're sitting in the Oval Office, the leader of the Philippines, the leader of the United States, going to talk trade deals. And of course, every question is going to get asked. But there doesn't seem to be much doubt in my mind that even if you were to believe Andrew McCarthy, which I don't think he's got it all right, that so much of this was all known and that none of this is a big deal. As a matter of fact, I think that the spelling it out for people with such levels of clarity is a big deal. I think that things get pushed aside and things get washed away and things get forgotten about, and they shouldn't be. That these things do matter, and they matter greatly in what it is Barack Obama did, James Comey did, James Clapper did, John Brennan did, Loretta Lynch did, Joe Biden did, Andrew McCabe did. As they saw the intelligence community saying the Russians weren't interfering with the election, so they spiked the presidential daily brief to basically write a new one that said, yep, this was all the Russians. And then work to connect Donald Trump to it. It's how it went down. It's how it happened. And so should there be an investigation? Absolutely. Should charges come? Absolutely. Should people be testifying? Absolutely. They should. I don't think there's going to be any justice that comes from this. I don't see that happening. I don't see anybody going to jail because of this. And that's horrible. I'm not saying that that's right. They should go to jail. They're terrible. The part that matters is that we see who they are and others get to see who they are. That's the entirety of the conversation. It is not that I disagree with you. And I will get into more of this about the very idea of sometimes all you have is the vote, no matter what you want. I don't condone the violence. I don't condone the rioting. I don't condone any of that stuff. If quite literally there is an invading force, I believe in protecting us and we. If we're talking about my kids, and I'll get into that as well, I feel different, but there is a justice system that could hold me liable for such things. No, I believe in the vote. And we go back to a special election or runoff election in Georgia. Remember that? It was, you've had these ridiculous people allegedly on the political right, losers and hustlers and con guys as I see it. And it'll stop the steal and we're not going to allow this. And it doesn't matter if you vote in this election. Do you remember that? It was what's his name? Herschel Walker running. Of course it mattered. Always mattered. And I had trolls reaching out to me. Tony, you don't understand. There'll never be a fair election again. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is president of the United States right now. So tell me more about how the elections don't matter, or there won't be any more fair elections or anything else. It was always just such ridiculousness. People who had no control of their emotions. My emotions say to me that these low-life criminals have to be dealt with. 1,000% must be dealt with. Reality says I'm not going to get the dealing with that I want. And I hate that. And that stinks to high heaven. But we have to deal with the reality that we have. Reality is also in taking a look at these files regarding Martin Luther King. They got released yesterday, some 200,000 pages of information relating to the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Was this always in the works? Well, if you were to ask them, they would say yes. As a matter of fact, not only was this in the works, the information was shared with Martin Luther King Jr.'s children before it was released. And they have said something fascinating in their statement. We recognize that the release of documents concerning the assassination of our father, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., has long been a subject of interest, captivating public curiosity for decades. I would say that that's correct. To be assassinated at that motel, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee. What do we know about Ray? James Earl Ray, of course. All interesting stuff. But they write, the release of these files must be viewed within their full historical context. During our father's lifetime, he was relentlessly targeted by an invasive, predatory, and deeply disturbing disinformation and surveillance campaign orchestrated by J. Edgar Hoover through the Federal Bureau of Investigation. The intent of the government's campaign was not only to monitor, but to discredit, dismantle, and destroy Dr. King's reputation and the broader American civil rights movement. So I guess their argument seems to be that within these documents, there are things that are going to make Martin Luther King Jr. look very unflattering. And you have to remember who was writing some of these documents to begin with, and that they can't be trusted. For the record, I think that's a wholly accurate assessment. And I think it's an incredibly important point that anytime you look at history, it must be looked at through the lens of then and the growth of then and what happened. And then we can play it into how things progressed until now. I think we should always be looking at something through the lens of what was the context of the time and of the moment. Is every part of every piece of paper that somehow makes Dr. Martin Luther King look bad fraudulent? No, I don't believe that in the slightest. Is it possible that some of it is fraudulent? Absolutely true, or at least skewed. That's very, very possible. I think it's a worthy statement. What do I think of its release? I don't know. I guess I had missed where this was a promise that we would see this. I knew the JFK stuff, but I didn't know Martin Luther King stuff. But I look at this and I look at the release from the DNI regarding Russia, the Director of National Intelligence, and I wonder to myself, man, how much are they annoyed by all this talk about Jeffrey Epstein? Right? We're releasing this and we're releasing that. We're going to release I wonder how much they're really bothered by it all. That they are, these other things are getting released, maybe, just maybe, as a way of trying to get people to stop talking about Epstein. Maybe. It's possible. I saw that, was it Stephen A. Smith in one of the more ridiculous commentaries was saying that, Trump's been calling on the Washington commanders to change their name. You know what that's all about.
I think it's him being evasive, because the reality is that no matter how good he wants people to believe things are with the big beautiful bill and other things that have been transpiring, tariff wars, the border issues or whatever, if you're on the right, obviously you're happy with a lot of things that are going on. And there's nothing to take credit away from that. I'll leave the political evaluations to other people. But nevertheless, there are millions upon millions of people in the United States of America that are not necessarily happy with some of the things that he's doing. So what does he do? He caters to his base, because when you look at the Redskins name, obviously it's something that needed to be changed. And by him bringing that issue up, we all know from a political landscape, it's much ado about nothing. It's just him catering to his base to make sure that he serves to appease them in some way, to distract them from other issues, including the Epstein files, by the way.
He just said he wasn't getting into the political of it, but ESPN Stephen A. Smith then gets into the political of it and gets it completely wrong. I mean, completely wrong. If you were to say to me that the release of information regarding MLK, regarding this about Russia was a distraction from Epstein, look at how transparent we're being. See, we're already being transparent. Why are you discussing transparency? Look at all the transparency. I could see it. But wanting the Washington Redskins name to come back instead of the Washington Commanders is because all this woke nonsense is garbage. Somebody can have two thoughts in their head at the same time. This is standard operating Trump. This is just the way he is, and everybody knows this. This has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. What a silly argument being made by Stephen A. Smith here. What an amateurish argument being made by Stephen A. Smith. The name Redskins didn't have to go. Why don't we ask Native Americans what they think? Because many are on the record saying, why would we get rid of the name? Why in the world would we erase ourselves this way? Maybe other things can be done. Smarter things can be done. Better things can be done other than full erasure of the Redskins, of the Indians. It's a standard Trump move that has nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. It has to do with somebody asked him a question and he knew exactly where he wanted to be, as if it was a Pavlovian response. Stephen, I'm not going to tell you to stick to sports. I don't do that. I'm going to tell you, if you're going to do this stuff, you've got to be better at it, because this is not an intellectual approach. That is nonsense. And the idea that you get paid millions for that, holy hell, man, where do I sign up? Be wrong and get paid? Whoo! That's a sweet deal. I think it's going to be the Redskins' name again, but the idea that that's an Epstein cover is nonsense. I do wonder about this with MLK and the ODNI stuff, just one day after the next, just a week after promises about Epstein. That I could more tie together. Keep it here. I'm Tony Katz, and this is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, Tony Katz Today. So we were doing some cleaning and the camera got moved just a touch, and I'm wondering if that's too much. Like I think it's because that's more centered right there. But now it shows the Tony. I'm like, oh, maybe I want that. Maybe that's good. No, but I'm gonna have to adjust because I'm just ridiculous like that. That's all right. I didn't realize it was gonna look like that. I'll fix it. What do you guys got going on? Yes, I have half a bottle showing right there. I'm not gonna move the camera right now. This is not a white shirt. This is blue. This is blue right here. But see how it looks like I'm like kind of tilted. Like, right? I'm not. It's just not. So, all right. Maybe I'll fix it during another break. I'm not going to fix it right now. I will do what I can. Right there. Also, a shorter live stream today. It's the way it goes sometimes. But we've got still plenty to go, so let's stick with it. And Hunter Biden. Oh, Hunter Biden. Oh, hold on a second. Oh, did you delete that? No, you didn't. Okay, how much time do we have? Okay, let me share a quick story with you. This is Michael Marsh. I don't know Michael Marsh. WIBC is my home station in Indianapolis, and he's saying we got corporate welfare. I believe what he's talking about is paycheck protection, which Emmis Communications got, but Emmis sold to Urban One. I have no idea if Urban One did or didn't. But paycheck protection was offered to a multiplicity of businesses, and then money was paid back during COVID. So not corporate welfare, but my gosh, that was a good effort. All the best to you in trying again. Come on. Next time, come heavy or don't come at all. Because that is weak stuff. You can do better. I mean, have a real argument. That's all I'm saying. So is Jerome Powell again? We're having this conversation. Is he getting forced out? By the way, during this presser that the president had in the Oval with the president of the Philippines, there was cursing. And so producer Landon, finger on the dump button if you would.
I called yesterday and this morning for the Fed to do a big internal investigation to understand not their monetary policy, but everything else. The Fed has had big mission creep, and that's where a lot of the spending's going. That's why they're building these new or refurbishing these buildings. And I think they got to stay in their lane. And I think that based on the way they cut rates last fall, they should be cutting rates now.
It's inconceivable, I know the Fed very well, that they can be spending $2.7 billion to build a building. They don't do anything. It's the greatest job. You show up one day, a half a day, you make a little speech, the economy's doing well, the economy's not doing well, we're going to raise interest. And he's got it wrong. That's why I call him too late, T-O-O, too late. And it's really too bad. But it is affecting people that want to buy houses, and that shouldn't happen.
It is very much affecting people who want to buy houses. It is, and this $2.7 billion on the refurb of this office is surreal when you consider how much office space is available right now. I think that's the biggest part of it. Like maybe there are things about it that I don't know, and it's got a special vault, and I don't know, maybe it has a home theater. I'm not sure. Maybe they added a kegerator. I don't know what's in this place. But at $2.7 billion, the amount of real estate office space you can buy in every downtown across the country, you would have an astronomical amount of office space. And then you would have to hold on and pray to whomever it is you pray to that people would actually want to open an office again. So I agree. I don't quite know where all this money has gone to in this refurb or this redo of a building. It doesn't seem to make any sense. But the real question is he going to go? Is he going to go yes or no? I mean, the Dow has not really moved today. NASDAQ was down a little when I last looked, but there wasn't really any movement. I don't know if they're waiting on some new things to come forward, some new information to come forward. What I do know, people are spending. What I do know, manufacturing is down 4 months in a row. What I do know, tariffs have not had an effect on spending. What I do know, companies are eating the tariffs for now. That makes for a better economy, but that could all change in 2 months. That's what I know. This is Tony Katz today. All right. Can I fix this camera? Do you guys mind? Do you mind if I do that? I'm going to stay right there for a second. Okay. See that? Look at that. It's just, how did I do that? How did that happen? We were cleaning. We knocked it around that much. That's crazy talk. Oh, that's super annoying. Better. I think it's still a little over. You see a little bit of the right there. See a little bit of that right there. So I think I just got to bring it a little bit over and then we're done. But at least we're even now. How do we get cockeyed like that? I don't have an answer. I do not have an answer for that. There. And we live with that. I still think it's a little too far over, but I go, at least it's straight. Now I think it's you know what? You should not have OCD and make video. That's what I think I've learned. My gosh. Yeah, so that's in. How am I going to now? You know what I should do? I know what I should do. Yeah, you can see more booze. That's better. What I think I need to do. Okay. So the camera's on a tripod, as one can imagine. What I need to do is take it off the tripod. I need to mount it to the ceiling and have that coming down on a fixed pole, and then the system set up from there. By the way, I don't have OCD. Wait, do I have OCD? No, it's not CDO. No, you shouldn't try and tell jokes. You're very bad at this. Sorry, I was dealing with producer Landon. Oh, am I overthinking it there, Mark? Is that why I'm overthinking it? Welcome to every day of my life. This is happening in real time. You want to watch a breakdown? I'll show you a breakdown. Gosh. Oh. What do you want first? Colbert or Hunter? Colbert or Hunter? Hunter or Colbert? Which one do you want first? Yeah, I wasn't asking you, producer Landon. I was asking the people in the chat room. My God. Jennifer says neither. You know, that's a very funny answer. Well done, Jen. Well done. Colbert or Hunter? Which one do you want, people? Which one do you want? Do you want more of the story of Stephen Colbert or more of Hunter Biden?
These people.
Well, I didn't think that was necessary at all.
I hate old white men.
Well, they're not that old. They're not that old. Tony Katz today. Good to be with you, because I must. Please don't get me wrong. Tomorrow we're going to get more into the conversation of what is going on with the Druze in Syria, the fight that is there, the issues that are being seen. I'm going to break down a whole bunch of that for you. There are real world issues at play, but there are cultural issues happening right here that really do affect us and have been affecting us. And I don't like to dismiss them. And while they may seem salacious, there's actually something really deeper at play. And sometimes, honestly, a little bit of step back to these people should be roundly mocked is worthwhile. All right, I'll start with Colbert. I will start with Colbert because it's my show. Over there at his show last night, Stephen Colbert has, well, some special guests. And the Colbert special guests are there because they can't believe that he is being thrown off the air. They can't believe that CBS is doing this. How could you get rid of this show? Well, what if the show doesn't make money? Does it make sense to keep something going that doesn't make money? No one's really watching late night the way they used to. It doesn't have a level of connectivity the way it used to. It just doesn't. What late night has become is a kind of wink and a nod to fellow travelers from those who run the stations, the networks, to say, hey, no matter what we did on our news coverage, you know where our hearts really are. You know what kind of progressives we really are. And that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. It's a way of saying, you know, our true identity because we let Jimmy Kimmel do all these progressive things and Stephen Colbert and all the rest. And they're all progressives and they're all not funny. They're not funny. Now, this is the moment where someone's going to say, hey, late night still matters. Gutfeld's number one. Allow me. And I am not anti-Gutfeld. I don't know the man. Gutfeld is number one because he is one of one against six others. The six others have a much larger audience than Gutfeld. This has always been a great mistake people make. The idea that Fox News is number one, that's true. And that they have this ratings dominance is great. But if you were to add up the total audiences of all the left-leaning networks, cable news, etc., that number is far greater than the Fox News audience. So all of these small things have a greater effect than the number one, which is larger. It's not larger against what would be referred to in sales as the long tail. It's just not. So Gutfeld being number one or beating Colbert in the ratings doesn't change the fact that Colbert, Kimmel, Fallon, Myers, Corden, John Oliver, etc., have a larger audience in toto, and they're all saying the same exact thing and all hate half of America. Not to have a disagreement with, hate, viscerally hate, want to attack and destroy, hate. So CBS announces we're ending the franchise. We're not going to have late night anymore. And what happens is that, well, they start having some people come out, some celebrities. They bring out Weird Al Yankovic and Lin-Manuel Miranda to play music for the fans that are all broken up by this. And they're playing Coldplay, right? Because of the Kiss Cam. Fine. You could argue smart. Good idea. Funny. It's Weird Al. Who doesn't love Weird Al? And then it's got Andy Cohen and Anderson Cooper, which is, all right, a little weird that not as well-known dudes, only known by the leftists. Then you've got Adam Sandler. You've got Christopher McDonald, Shooter McGee, and Shooter McGavin, and Triumph, the insult comic dog. Okay, it's a Happy Gilmore thing. It's Sandler. Very, very cool. Fine. You've got people who are starting, we're going to miss you so much and all that jazz. You can live with that. Then you see Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers in the audience drinking a beer and saying, oh, look, we're on TV. Then you have Jon Stewart and John Oliver sitting next to each other, freaking out because the camera goes to them. I would like it if late night hosts actually believe they should compete with one another. I am not adversarial with any radio host that I know of. Radio hosts that are my time slot and everything else. No, I'm competing for stations. They're competing for stations. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. I wish them well. I wish myself more well. I am trying to grow every single day. Sometimes we talk about the same things. Sometimes we talk about different things, depending on the subject. We have different takes and all these things. I am not trying to destroy them. But certainly, and I would expect the same from them, I am focusing on what it is that I'm doing. That we might be friendly to each other is different than whether or not we get on the phone and say, okay, what are you talking about today? That's what this looks like. This looks like late night hosts who all gather around and say, okay, what are we talking about this week? That's not late night. That's not competition. That is everybody agreeing to do the bare minimum, attack Trump, make millions, move on. That's the game. That's all they have. But during the Colbert show, Colbert says, he's talking about how the rumor is that the show lost $40 million last year. Lost $40 million. And he says, 40 million is a big number. I could see us losing 24 million, but where would Paramount have possibly spent the other 16 million? Oh, yeah. He's, of course, talking about the settlement with President Trump because of the edited video of Kamala Harris and other things. This is Colbert attacking the network and the company that owns the network for doing the right thing for the business because they did the wrong thing with the editing and coming to a settlement with Donald Trump. So first, you have this outing of late night hosts all showing you what an absolute scam this is. They don't care about entertainment. They only care about doing the bare minimum, collecting a paycheck. Better to work together than try and compete. Weak sauce, if you ask me. They're all in on it. All the same talking points. And then you have Colbert still going after the company that gave him 10 years and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars. CBS should end that show today. How ungrateful, how ugly. He's going to what? Just mock them for the next 10 months? As opposed to recognizing the company needs to be able to survive and maybe his programming doesn't work? Guys, there'll be a day they'll say my programming doesn't work. I could be out of a job next month. I could be out of a job tomorrow for all I know. You're not owed it. And this is what you're going to do? Act like you're owed it? The elitism, the total disconnect from all of us, the total lack of comedy. CBS is going to have 10 months of getting punched in the face, or they could turn it off today. Yeah, you'll take heat for a few days, and then after that, you move on. CBS should turn it off. Cancel it today. Do not deal with this for 10 months and then be vilified then. Deal with this for 10 more minutes and get vilified now. It'll be faster. It'll be quicker. It'll be better. Colbert never deserved you. All that money and the guy still hates you. All that opportunity and the guy still hates you. That's Colbert. We'll get into Hunter in just a few. Keep it here. This is Tony Katz Today. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you. All right. So now, in order to bring you the Hunter stuff, I need you to know how much editing I had to do. Now, some of it was done. I'm not going to get all of it. There's that. And then there's this. And then actually, I should bring those in here, shouldn't I? Yes, I'll bring those right in there. Bravissimo. Excellent. Good question from Jeff here. What is the appropriate time to remove the wrapper or label from the cigar? I like to wait about a half inch before the cigar gets to it in terms of as it's burning down. There are some who believe that you wait, right? As you see the cigar right here, you wait until the cigar burns down. And what happens is that the heat of the cigar is building up a little, and that will allow you to more easily remove the glue or separate the glue that holds the label in place, the cigar band, and it'll easily come off. That's not true in the slightest. What's true is that you can do it whenever you want. There are some bands that just never come off. They take forever and they gotta be ripped. It's the worst. It is just a pain. So with that, it's honestly it's whenever you want it to be. Whenever you want it to be, that's what you should do. So I will leave that. I will leave that to you. How soon to her back? Oh, okay. So as you know by now, Hunter Biden did an interview. And Hunter Biden's interview is completely and totally insane. Starting with, I know why my dad did terribly at the debate.
I know exactly what happened in that debate. He flew around the world, basically, in the mileage that he could have flown around the world 3 times.
Yeah.
He's 81 years old. He's tired. You give him Ambien to be able to sleep. He gets up on the stage, and he looks like he's a deer in the headlights.
Ambien. I've taken Ambien once in my life. I was in a hospital. I knew I was hallucinating. Tony Katz today. It was awful. Brutal. I wouldn't take Ambien again. And ever, never, ever. No. But then you have him talking about how Nancy Pelosi took out his dad. I mean, took him right out.
And you would have the Speaker Emeritus that would say, well, I'm going to leave it up to, but I don't know. And they had already made a decision. They had clearly made a decision. And when I say they, I mean the Speaker. And, I heard Alexander Pelosi say something, call my mom, like, put your big girl pants on to my mom or something. And I kind of feel like saying, who the do you think you are? I would never speak about your mom that way.
Yeah.
I would never speak about your father that way. I would never insult your parents that way. Even to this day, I would never.
So now you say to me, oh, so he was doing some cursing. Oh, kitten. Oh, boo-boo. he was doing some major league cursing, like on immigration, which of course he doesn't discuss as illegal immigration.
For someone, and I be like all these Democrats say, you have to talk about and realize that people are really upset about illegal immigration. You. How do you think your hotel room gets cleaned? How do you think you got food on your table? Who do you think washes your dishes? Who do you think does your garden? Who do you think is here by the sheer just grit and will that they figured out a way to get here because they thought that they could give themselves and their family a better chance? And he's somehow convinced all of us that these people are the criminals?
Perfect. He's got it all together there. Does that Hunter Biden, man? And let me tell you, he's throwing Democrats under the bus. The whole Clooney thing, all the George Clooney. I'll get to the George Clooney thing. Just one after another. And I said, like, who in the world thought to interview him? And I something table. That's what I thought the name of the organization was that did the interview. I don't want to get that wrong. They deserve that respect for getting the interview done. And I'm like, why in the world is he doing the interview? Everything else. I thought Hugh Hewitt nailed it. Hugh Hewitt said the reason he's doing the interview is because he's the only Biden that can still make some money. They can't make any money anymore. There's no one coming for speeches. There is no one who wants to bring him on to a board or Jill Biden onto a board. They know what they did. Their selfishness got Donald Trump reelected. They could have stepped away months before. The Democrats could have run a real campaign. They could have had a real primary. They could have had a shot. But nope, those Bidens. And maybe if he goes out there and he is this guy, maybe there's opportunities for him. And yes, as the chat room has noted, they kick back 10% for the big guy. That's accurate. That is it. I thought that was a smart take from Hugh Hewitt. There is Comey and Clinton. That story is worthy of a discussion. We'll break down why it is the Trump administration is moving out of UNESCO, and rightfully so, and what's happening with education choice, and how do Democrat governors deal with the opportunity that their citizens now have. I've got all that coming up. Find everything at TonyKatz.com. So much more is happening. This is Tony Katz today. Yes, so I apologize that we are cutting the stream short today. Usually we go till about 1:30 Eastern time. Just today cannot do that today. Not just the way it is. So here's what's happening. Here's what's going on. You're loved. You are adored. We're going to keep doing streams, and I'm going to get this camera working perfectly. Yes, I'm going to hang it from the ceiling. It happens. But appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. That's it. What do you mean you're used to the disappointment? Why are you like that, Jennifer? Why do you hurt me? It's not cool. Not cool. Yeah, today was a short one. Tomorrow will be a normal one. Today Tuesday? Yeah, Wednesday and Thursday will be normal. I don't know what's going on with Friday yet. But Wednesday and Thursday will be normal. So I appreciate you very, very much. And I will catch you guys tomorrow. Be good. Take care.